I understand he might be coming a little bit late. He has some jury duty he's working on. I want to say welcome to everybody. We had a great kickoff today, all-campus kickoff. It was so exciting to see everybody gathered in the gym there and meet with them. So one other item, I want to mention item 1.10, items for future board consideration. We're going to table that item. It needs to be run by a committee first. These are proposed projects for a future bond program, so that item won't be discussed today. And we'll move right into swearing in of our new trustee. Lori?
You do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you have to have a script.
I have our script. Do we
Yes.
have to stand up?
Yes, you do. Yeah.
I thought you would
Next
join
to
us.
each other.
We have Kristen Alvarez, and he gets to be sworn in today
That's great.
by the board president.
Our most colorful people are.
Yeah, this is a great photo op, Joan, with these colors, so join me over here.
It is nice.
So, Christian Alvarez. Want me to read this to you, or you just want to?
I think you're going to have to.
Read it.
Okay. So you-
I think you read it and then
he repeats it
slowly.
slowly.
You-
I, Christian Alvarez,
I, Christian Alvarez,
do solemnly swear that I will support
do solemnly swear that I will support
and defend the Constitution of the United States
and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
There you go. Thank you very much. Here we go, our new student trustee. Now I get to move to the next item and have Lori introduce classified longevity.
We have one that we're honoring tonight, and she's the one that always greets every individual when we use the small room outside our office with a great big smile, and it's Lorraine Michalak, and I would like to ask, I believe that Michelle Gottwald will be speaking in support of Lorraine's 10 years of service at the college, so if you two could please come on.
Okay. Can I take it off here? No. I have to leave it on there. Okay. Well, I am Lorraine's supervisor. I am the director of the ADN program, but really, I like to think of her as my supervisor because without Lorraine, I would not be able to function nor take care of the students that we take care of, that she takes care of. Not only is she responsible for the hundreds of applicants for the ADN students, but she also manages all of the other programs as well. The CNA students, the radiology students, the LVN students, the EMT students, and there are, when you put them all together, there are thousands of students. And Lorraine deals with them as if they're the most important person around. She has thousands of students to deal with, and as far as the student is concerned, they're the most important thing. And they have no idea what it is that she needs to do in order to manage all of these students. And her ability to deal with them and make them feel important and answer their questions is remarkable. Frequently, I hear her talking on the phone, and I just go out there and I'm like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it because she gives them the information, she makes them feel important, and she guides them through the process. And not only through our process here at Santa Barbara City College, but she's very knowledgeable about all of the other programs in California and can give them guidance regarding those programs as well. So we are very, very lucky to have her here. And like I said, most of us in our department would not be able to get along very well unless we had her. So we are very, very glad that she has been with us for 10 years and hope that she'll be with us for a lot longer, so.
Congratulations, and thank you. Next item is hearing of citizens, and I don't see any slips have been turned in. So we'll move on to the minutes of the regular meeting of December 12th. Approval of those minutes. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move approval. Second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you. Next is reports. We'll start with Kenley Newfield, Academic Senate President. Second time I've introduced you today.
Hey, we got to do that this morning. It's always a pleasure to be here and be thankful for the work that you do for the college and the district. I think that sometimes the efforts of public servants is often unrecognized, and it's not always an easy task to have in a community. And in my small community, I'm often the one who comes to speak to City Council and share with them my viewpoints on things. So last week, or 2 weeks ago, when we had a full room of citizens, I actually was very happy to see that, because I think an engaged citizenry is very important to a democracy and a community, and I have been one of those people in the past. So I value their input as well. That said, as the Academic Senate President, I'd like to share with you just a few comments, and forgive me if I need to read some of it because I don't want to misspeak in what I want to say. And this has to do with policy matters on curriculum and educational program development, which have been identified both in your board policy, which is BP 2510, and in the California Code of Regulations, Title V, as areas that are considered academic and professional matters, whereby the board will consult collegially on these matters. And on these two particular matters, to consult collegially means to rely primarily upon the advice and judgment of the Academic Senate. And this board has done so in years past, and I assume will continue to do so moving ahead. If we look a little deeper at district procedures, we find in AP 4502 how course offerings are handled within a department. And I just want to read just a segment of it. The department chair serves as liaison to the division dean and the EVP for educational programs with regard to academic, curricular, professional, and operational business of the department. It goes on to say, department chairs will consult with department faculty, identify courses and/or services to be offered, and schedule classes or program coverage, and consult with department faculty and other departments as needed to identify courses and programs to be developed or modified. We have a policy and a procedure for handling curricular matters at the college. It relies upon the faculty and the Academic Senate to provide the leadership and direction for our programs, courses, and offerings. Intercollegiate athletic offerings, such as men's tennis, our curricular matters and follow both the policy and the procedure of the college, whereby the board relies upon the faculty, departments, curriculum advisory, and the academic senate. The physical education department began their discussion in 2008, and the decision was not taken lightly by this department. The unanimous decision not to offer men's intercollegiate tennis was based upon their analysis of student interest and in order to better align their limited resources with the goals and needs of the department as a whole. This does not mean that men's tennis will never come back in the future. So please continue to rely upon the faculty on these matters as we move forward. So that's all I really have to share with you today. Just a little story of our policies and procedures and how we like to manage curriculum matters in our district. And so I'm open to questions or comments. Yeah, Marcia.
Just one clarification. We are offering tennis, as I understand. It's just the intercollegiate
Correct,
tennis you were
yes.
referring to.
It's just the intercollegiate course in tennis that's not being offered, but we do continue to offer tennis for men and women. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
There's no report today from the Associated Students, so we'll move on to Liz Auchincloss, classified employees.
Good afternoon, members of the board. We had a very nice in-service today. The classified staff had many different workshops that they were able to attend, and I think everybody signed up for things and enjoyed the day. Our consultation group hasn't met yet. We meet about week after next after CPC meeting, but the classified staff are getting involved in the accreditation process more so than in previous years. There's, I think, 16 classified staff that are on the teams, and maybe more will be in the process as it goes along. So that's good news for the classified staff being involved in this, even though it will be a lot of work for them, the people on the teams. The only other thing is, last time I mentioned classified staff teaching as adjuncts. That's still in the process of discussion, and there'll be a meeting with the staff that are affected by this on Monday. Unfortunately, Monday is the first day of classes, so some of the people won't be able to go, but I'm sure there'll be people at the meeting that will be representing the classified who teaches adjuncts. So I'll have to update you after we continue discussions. Any questions?
Thank you, Liz. Dr. Gaskin, do you have a voice?
The only comment I want to make is that there's nothing better than to come to school and be greeted by hundreds of our faculty and staff and administrators just so eager and passionate about what they do. It really reaffirms what SBCC is all about. And I just found it to be a real privilege to stand up there and be able to engage with my colleagues who have such a heart. That's all I wanted to share.
Thank you. Reports from committee chairs. Marianne?
The Facilities Committee met this week. The committee is composed of Craig, Marcia, and me, and we were provided a detailed and useful update of the status of the lock project. The project was designed to standardize locks, upgrade corroded and flimsy doors, and meet the recommendations of the Emergency Preparedness Committee. This huge, complicated project is nearly completed, and it is a model of such upgrades, such complicated projects. So much so that staff have been invited to present at conferences and to provide advice to other institutions going through this project. Thank you.
Ed policies. Is there anyone on that committee that would like to report?
We can wait till the official report comes.
Okay, and then Marcia, finance.
The Finance Committee met. Marty Bloom, myself, and Craig Nielsen are on that. and we were given a number of items that were all, I would say, organizational. Lindsay Moss, who works with Joe, has a great interest in being well organized. She presented lists and plans, and we know where we're headed throughout the year and what will come up at each of our meetings. In addition, there will be ad hoc items, but she's got a list that when everything happens. There's also the budget development chart, which I believe the board has already seen, which is part of Lindsay's organizational efforts. And she did an actual versus budget comparison for the first 6 months of the year, this year to last year, and how we were, and we were doing well. We're fine in terms of the budget. So I just want to congratulate Joe and Lindsay for providing us with such a well-organized presentation.
Yes, I would like to second that because I've been here around for a year now, and last year it didn't appear to be this well organized. We were kind of short-staffed, but this is really going to be good. Big step forward, and things are becoming clearer and clearer, and we can anticipate things better. This is a good job, Lindsay.
And probably no one's more grateful for the 2 new staff in the finance area than Joe Sullivan, who was operating without
Without them,
2 key
he
positions.
did okay, but now it's really coming on.
Great, great.
This will affect the whole campus. It's in the budgeting, so it's not like immediate, but the year after, it's going to have an impact. And I think it's going to be positive.
It's all positive. Next is reports and information, and we've invited the executive director of the foundation and the president of the board of the foundation to speak to us today. Our board wants to be better informed about the structure of the foundation and different committees and organization, and so we're hoping that you'll provide that information to us today. Lori, did you have any other introductory
No, I didn't,
comment?
other than to respond that this was due to a request that the board had made for just exactly what President Macker described.
Good afternoon. What I will be passing out, but I'm going to hold off and just until the end, is a workbook orientation guide that we've developed for each Board of Trustee member that includes a variety of the components that came out of my last visit with you back in the summer, things that have you have requested, and then other information that yet wasn't available, for example, our audited financial statements. So I'm very pleased to be here. I do have this resource, but prior to that I thought the opportunity to walk through everything together. So I wanted to first start out today. Lisa Macker presented at the in-service, and she so clearly defined her family's role and relationship to Santa Barbara City College. And when I was listening to her story, I realized that that really encapsulates exactly what the foundation is in relationship to the college. And we really become the way that the community, who are not students and who are not faculty, for them to be able to engage within the college community. And that's really, from my perspective, and I think the perspective of our whole board, how we tie in to the structure of Santa Barbara City College. That said, our mission statement is very simple. Our whole mission is to support SBCC students through philanthropic, sustainable philanthropy. We're looking to continue every year to grow the legacy. And our vision statement is changing lives through education, which is exactly in line with what Santa Barbara City College does every day. The structure of the foundation began in 1976, and it was originally a group of people who knew that the Santa Barbara City College and the students could use additional resources other than just the tax dollars that come into the college. And they wanted to offer that philanthropic support to fund critical needs and programs and services to students that the state doesn't provide. And that term of the margin of excellence, I believe, holds true to today, where our funding goes for thousands of different purposes. What may not be evident is last year we had thousands of restricted gifts for a variety of purposes come in through the foundation to be helpful and assistive to all different types of programs, services, and departments. We know a lot about the student support services that donors contribute to: scholarships, book grants, internships, tutoring, all of those student support services that go to deserving students that are motivated and wanting to get through the college experience. But what you may not see is a lot of the restricted dollars for programs and services that range from the Choir of Voices, to athletics, to theater and performing arts, to field trips for geology students, all types of different ways that the foundation partners within the college support structure to assist a variety of programs and services. The fundraising priorities of the foundation do not encapsulate all of the different funds that pass through to support Santa Barbara City College, but what those priorities are they're developed by the college, presented by the college president to the foundation board on the top priorities of the college. And in the binder, you'll see the breakdown of this year's financial priorities, fundraising priorities. And that's really a directive to the foundation, is these are what we have identified as our very top needs. That said, we of course do our best to fulfill other needs as they come up throughout the year. Last year, we experienced sizable growth within our foundation net assets. We went from being a foundation with net assets of $42 million to a foundation with net assets of close to $50 million, just under $50 million. We had $9.9 million worth of revenue. That includes $5.7 million worth of contributions and donations, and then other funding and non-contributions. A good example of a non-contribution would be from money from the Osher initiative that are basically interest payments back to the college for scholarships, and also investment growth, interest, dividends, and investment gains. Our board constitutes 41 members, including foundation board members, community members. We have a very prestigious group. Backgrounds on our foundation board run from the former chair of the entire international division of Merrill Lynch to the former CEO of the largest national public real estate firm in the United States, to prestigious members of our local community, Maury Jerkowitz, background in real estate, Candy Luria. We have very dedicated philanthropists that make up our board. We also have ex officio members as part of our bylaws and a part of the joint responsibility. And I think this is where I'm excited, and probably most excited to speak with you today, is that the structure of the foundation is really ingenious, because the whole purpose of the foundation is to support the philanthropic needs of the college. And carved into that is a layer of shared responsibility where the foundation raises money on behalf of the college, and we send those funds to the college to be spent for those restricted purposes. And the joint accountability between having members of the community and then the ex officio members, President Dr. Lori Gaskin, Peter Hasland, our trustee representative, Jack Friedlander, Kenley Neufeld, Andy Harper, bring a layer of inner relations with the college into the foundation board, holding that same layer of fiduciary responsibility, which mandates that we steward our donors' funds, making sure that their intent is met, and that we account for their interests when they make their gift. For example, when we raise funds for athletics and someone makes a donation to fund the soccer storage shed, the fiduciary responsibility that rests in the hands of the foundation board is to make sure that those funds went to that storage shed. And that's why we are so interconnected in what we do in regards to that layer of accountability. Finally, we're governed by a master agreement that was jointly created by the foundation and the college years ago. Our bylaws and our master agreement have remained very constant since that time. The only addition since I've been with the foundation in the master agreement was the addition of Andy Harper as the position of the Center for Lifelong Learning was created. Our foundation governance committee wanted to give the Center for Lifelong Learning a voice within the foundation board and structure. And so we have been very proud to add Andy Harper this year to our foundation board. Otherwise, going back in time, there have been very few changes to that agreement, and I believe continues to serve us very well. We have a multitude of committees. Our committees range from our board, executive committee. Our executive committee is actually now an ad hoc committee. We had such great passion on our board that our executive committee had surpassed 14 members. And we had numerous board members that wanted to participate in the executive committee. And in the strategic planning process, a number of board members felt that they were not able to participate in so many of the critical decisions that were being made at the executive committee level, and they were interested and engaged. So what the foundation did through the strategic planning process was to limit the executive committee to just the officers, including Dr. Lori Gaskin, and makes up of 6 members. But they don't meet regularly, and all new decisions are now made at the foundation board level, which has increased the participation and the ownership and accountability on the foundation board. We also have a finance committee chaired by Mike Giles, who's been in that position for a number of years, and we're very fortunate to have his leadership. Our investment committee, chaired by Ken Pash, who is also the vice president of the foundation board, has served now on the foundation board since 1995 and has been instrumental in transitioning our investments from a stock and bond portfolio managed in a very old-fashioned way to now being ran like every other major foundation across the country with an investment consultant. Currently, our manager is SEI, based out of Philadelphia. I've personally visited their firm to do a due diligence trip, actually prior to starting in my position, so it didn't cost us anything. But they are an incredible investment manager and steward. We also have a real estate committee, a planned giving committee. We have a development committee, an ad hoc President's Council committee. We have a committee for governance and nominations. And then, of course, a Campaign for Student Success Task Force Committee. That committee structure is always chaired by a foundation board member, but most committees are also open to engage community members. And in fact, we really make a concrete effort to engage members of the community so that we can account for any shortfalls in the talent pool on our foundation board. So for example, Mike Berquist, who's an attorney in town, also does a lot of incredibly complex estate planning, serves on our planned giving committee, and donates hundreds of hours each year of legal expertise that we don't have to pay for. Our development committee makes up 33 members. Most of that committee is not on our foundation board, but we see that as a way of engaging the community in the activities of the foundation and allowing them the opportunity to get involved at a leadership level. Speaking of leadership, the foundation board embarked on a very time-intensive strategic plan. It actually took 22 months of intense work to address 6 key areas of focus. The first was to really take a very hard look on our mission statement. And I know that you as a group did the same thing together, embarking on that. And I think that that was really reflective of the time that we were operating in. With such intense challenges facing the college, the focus was really to refine our role, how we can best support and engage within the process to best support Santa Barbara City College. We also looked at internal operations and structures. On the internal operations and structures, that task force was really focused on how we can improve the communication and the participation jointly between the college, the student body, our alumni network, and our philanthropic community, including the businesses and philanthropists, and how we can bridge that gap of communication between all constituent groups so that we're able to deliver the best service and the best process as possible. We also focused on sustainability. This was a major obstacle in the Foundation's history. And I'll tell you, for 11 years, continued pressure on the state from the budget cuts and all of the increasing pressures and demands for the college continually led the Foundation to give as much as possible, constantly running a deficit each year in regards to our own operating needs. Unfortunately, that just doesn't last forever. And when I came on board, we were about 2 years away from having bankruptcy. So we needed to really address the sustainability, and I'm proud to say that we have accomplished that, and we have now reached a level of sustainability that we can continue well into the future. We also focused on fundraising. Fundraising not only in terms of the current dollars being raised, but also to address the legacy that our founders left us. And we had 15 key philanthropists that began this foundation and gave their heart and soul. And as we walk around the campus, we see their legacy on the buildings that make up this campus. But as it goes in life, we've lost 12 out of those 15. And that was a huge financial loss in terms of philanthropic contributions coming into the foundation each year. And unfortunately, it all happened within a very short time frame, because these were friends and grew up together and did this as a group, and they were peers. And unfortunately, they seemed to pass at the same time. And so what needed to be looked at was, how are we going to move forward, given this loss of increased revenue, philanthropic revenue coming from those individuals? How can we then transition the foundation to better serve the interests and the needs of the college and make up for that loss of revenue? And that changed our focus from being driven by a handful of very generous philanthropists to being more reflective of our overall community. And to that, we've gone from 900 existing donors to over 5,000. And our goal this year is to increase our donor base to 10,000 donors. Now, I will tell you, there are very few businesses that can say that they have achieved a 500% increase in their client base. And I think that that's really indicative of the communication and the participation within our board members and our leadership, because they are really dedicated. And I've personally served on 7 boards in my tenure in life, and I have never seen a board more actively committed to a mission than our foundation board. And it is such an honor to be able to work for them and to be able to see their passion and to see their ideas come to fruition. Finally, our final task force was the marketing. One of the common themes as I came into this role was that they felt that the community didn't know what we were all about, that they lacked clarity of mission, that there was confusion between what we did and what the Scholarship Foundation did, or what the Santa Barbara Foundation did. And they wondered, why is a foundation necessary? What was so surprising to me, as having been a student at Santa Barbara City College and burdened personally with gobs of financial debt and working full-time the whole time, was how hard it was for people to understand at first why it's so vital for our students to have that level of giving and that level of philanthropic support. And to that end, they also didn't understand the shortfall that makes up our unfair, from my perspective, educational system, where all the dollars seem to go to other four-year universities, where the community college system is left struggling so often at an unfair disadvantage when it comes to financial resources. And our marketing message really needed to go out to the community and out to the nation as a whole to be able to address and articulate this problem. And to that end, we have hired a very respected marketing firm, Surf Media, to help us with our public image. You may probably know we have our foundation radio show, generously provided by AM 1290. We highlight faculty members. We've had everyone from Dr. Lori Gaskin to our facilities director, Mark, to Kenley, has not yet been on our show. He will be. But we had Paul Bishop on our show. And we try to bring in and highlight all the areas and departments within the campus so that people in the community hear about what that is, and then we tie in how the philanthropic contributions make a difference. We've had televised shows. Living Local runs all year round. We have had books of publications in the local papers, and I feel now that what I hear is, how do you get so much press? And it's really because once they understood what the mission was, everybody buys into this mission. Everyone cares about what happens here, and as you've so found, and the statistic I use is that the majority of our community has attended Santa Barbara City College or knows somebody that has. Their lives have been affected by this institution. So I will close by saying that that strategic plan set 6 key goals marked with multiple strategies to meet each goal, and that our vision going forward is to carry that out and to see how we can build to helping the college in even a more significant way. And with that, I really thank you. I hope that these points addressed what you were interested in hearing, and I'm eager to answer any questions that you may have.
You did good. Okay. It's good that you didn't pass that out, because the tendency is to flip through and not listen to you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Vanessa, so in our binder, will there be copies of the strategic plan, the vision, the mission statement?
Yes. Based on the length of the full strategic plan, I included the executive summary, but our full strategic plan, of course, is available. I also included our business plan. So our strategic plan looks forward in the next 3 to 5 years, but our business plan is focused and ends within the next 6 months. We're currently in the process of writing the next layer of that business plan. Included in the business plan, if you're interested, are milestones and benchmarks that the foundation uses to see if we're on track.
I know as a board, we've talked about different ways for us to engage more with the foundation board. One avenue is through the ex officio member who will appoint to be on your board. Also on the development committee, I imagine that would be a great place.
Absolutely.
Now, I did go the first year, but last year we haven't had a board member really attending those meetings. Are there other opportunities that you...
Absolutely. And really, there are so many ways that you interface within the community, and including the campus community. And I think that this is probably, if I could identify one way that our whole world will open up to us, and that is to really create a culture of philanthropy right here on Santa Barbara City College, dedicated to supporting Santa Barbara City College. Our student involvement, from the cheerleaders this morning leading the cheer to their telling their stories at different donor functions, our students are what really inspires our community to give. Our faculty, the best appointments I have ever been on. Recently, I went on an appointment with our Atkinson Gallery Director and Dean Sharper, Jack Friedlander, and the art department. And when I'm in those type of appointments, I just sit back and relax, because they sell themselves so well in terms of what their commitment is to students. So to the extent that we can spread the word of the foundation internally to get at the heart of involving our internal community, we will accomplish so much together. And that's really where I could use the most help. And you have such reach internally, obviously external too. If you identify anyone out in the community, if you run into an alum, if you meet someone, they've gone to Santa Barbara City College, you know, I can give you our cards, they're business-sized cards that say, join our alumni association, participate, it's free, just come to an event, let's get you involved. Always, you're invited to every single one of our functions. If you have a friend, a neighbor, a relative that you think will support the college, let me know, and we will invite them as our guests so that they can partake. Guess who's coming to lunches? We do every Friday when the gourmet dining room is open. If you have people you think would engage within the college, be my guest at lunch. We always feature a different faculty or staff member of the college. It's a surprise, hence the name, Guess Who's Coming to Lunch. And we feature that person, and they get to talk about what they do in relation to the college. They're really fun, and the food is great. These are all types of ways that you can engage with minimal time, because you're all so busy. You spend so much time already at the college. My job is to see if I can make that easier for you to participate in the process. So to that extent, please, any way I can, let me help you.
Any other board members, questions or comments?
Yes, we've had these discussions over the past year about a better relationship, and the points you brought up were pretty much right on the money. I look forward very much to reading the book, and absorbing that information. And thank you for the extra effort that I know you had to put forth to come and speak to us and plan this out.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you.
please know that it is appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you
We
so
have
much.
common goals.
Absolutely, we do have common goals. And so I really appreciate that. I will leave these books with Angie, and then I have Peter Haslin's in my office, and Lori, we have a special one for you with more stuff. All right.
Maddie,
Thank
did you want to make any comments, or?
I think I'm sort of in awe. Vanessa did a great job. I don't really have anything to add. If you have any questions for me, although Vanessa and I partner, I serve a different role because I'm the volunteer, but I'm happy to answer any questions. But I think she's really giving you and you'll really enjoy this book. It's got, I think, anything you really want to know about the foundation from A to Z. So.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Vanessa.
so much.
So the next item up on our agenda has to do with our SBCC 2013 survey. It was offered the first time this fall to employees only. Lori?
Yes. What we want to be able to do is to monitor the pulse of the institution through a regular evaluation and assessment. And we've tried different ways, particularly in accordance with our special report that was due last year. And what we've come to realize is that we developed an instrument that Robert will present that feels really appropriate to SBCC, and we used it for the first time this fall. We anticipate again distributing it next fall and then every fall thereafter, just to be able to monitor and track really how people think about the institution, their role within the institution, and how they feel about contributing. So I would like to ask Robert Else, our Senior Director of Institutional Research, Planning and Effectiveness Assessment, to present.
Thank you, President Gaskin. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon on this auspicious spring kickoff day, and I want to echo Kenley's comments and others that it's a pleasure and honor to be a part of this institution, especially today. So just a few words about the survey. As Lori said, it was given last October. It was a SurveyMonkey survey online sent to all employees of the college. Anybody who gets a paycheck at the college got this survey in their email. Click on a link, answer the questions. We wanted to keep it short. It's divided into 4 basic areas. Mission, planning, and budgeting was the first area, several questions there. And then we had a group of questions on student learning, a group of questions on resources, adequacy of our resources, and finally a group of questions on leadership and governance. I would say overall, as you saw yourselves, overall results positive. People feel we're fulfilling our mission. People are very emphatic that we have excellent student learning and support programs, very clear voices there. Some things that I thought were interesting in question 3, the overall awareness of planning and budgeting, overall awareness of that process, 25% said they were very aware, and 56% said they were somewhat aware. So as someone, all of us spend a great deal of time in planning and budgeting, I think that's a great result, even though, there are some who have no idea. That's to be expected. Not my job, not in my world, but I think that level of awareness is great. If people said they weren't aware of planning and budgeting, we skipped to the next group of questions. So any further responses about planning and budgeting were not from those who said, I don't know anything about it. So that helps us get a more accurate read. Question 11 was the question about student learning outcomes. And that's a very interesting response because it was pretty evenly split, saying yes, they do matter, no, they don't matter, or I'm neutral, who knows? And if we have any work to do, I would think that would be an area that we want to focus on. Jack and others led a very fruitful and a very frank workshop, two-day workshop on student learning outcomes last Thursday and Friday. I attended, it was very well attended, very engaged, interested, contributory discussion by all that were present. The two major themes that came out of there that I thought were very interesting and hopeful were, okay, course level SLOs, you know, it seems to duplicate grading. We as faculty don't get a lot of payback from that work. We don't learn anything from that data. It's more of a compliance exercise that we go through. So let's not make that any harder. We've made it as simple as we can. Fine, let's not add anything to that. Where the real value in SLOs seems to be is in two areas. One, the opportunity for the dialogue with our colleagues about teaching and learning. How do we do that more effectively? The work that we did on student learning outcomes gives us, as faculty, an opportunity to really talk about what we do and love and how can we do it better and more effectively. That was one big benefit. Another one that was a little bit of a surprise was, hey, the real value in student learning outcomes seems to be in our institutional level student learning outcomes, where we say we want students to have good communication skills, able to weigh opposing viewpoints, able to separate fact from opinion. These are the things that employers are looking for and the things that are going to help them in the real world, not necessarily reciting the periodic table of the elements or the photosynthesis process, whatever. So how do we engage students in that institutional level aspiration? How do we do that? That I would say, for me, what came out of that two-day workshop, but really it was a very frank and fruitful discussion, and I hope we hang on to that positive thread. In the questions about resources, question 12, do we have adequate resources in technology, facility, staffing, and so on? Opinion was high that we have adequate technology resources. That was the one that people thought we were doing the best in. The low scoring of all those was our facilities, and there's no surprise there. We need upgrades to our buildings and so on. So that was no surprise there. I went around to each of the major constituent and governance groups and asked for feedback on the survey, just similar to what I'm doing here today. And the themes that emerged there were reflective of people's increasing interest and hunger for knowing more about the governance process and wanting to be more involved. And I think the fact that we published the resource guide to decision-making and governance is a positive step, but people said, why don't we do a workshop on that? Why don't we do some professional development around governance and involvement? So that was an interesting result. I think that's all I'll say at this point, and ask for any feedback or questions or comments from you all.
I just, just noting, I mean, I know it's always hard to survey. I mean, it's optional. You take it, but it does, I mean, 22% overall. What, just on a given survey, what would be the ideal? I mean, I know 100% would be the ideal, but what would give you a pretty realistic pulse of the institution? What would be a percentage that you would want to hit?
22 is not bad.
No?
22, I mean, we'd love it to be 50 or 80 or 75 or 100, whatever, but 22, we were pleased with the 22.
And so when you break it up into subcategories, would you want to hit 22% across the board? And I'm asking because of the part-time faculty. I mean, when you add the full-time and the classified staff combined, the part-time faculty exceed that number, and we only got 10% back response from them.
From part-time, right.
And then they're huge to our institution, and so it'd be great if we can capture how,
I agree. I agree. One comment that I heard relevant to that result was that many part-time faculty don't use City College email. They use their own email for communication back and forth, and they might not necessarily have seen the emails about this survey. As surprising as that may seem, that is a factor here, I believe.
So could we address that by simply emailing both emails, personal and work?
We forward, if they so request,
If
we
they
forward
ask.
their emails to their home, but they need to
Right.
request. It's a perpetual problem across the state, how to reach out to the large contingent of adjunct faculty.
Craig, you had a comment?
Well, only if she's finished. Yeah, when I read the comments, and overall, the report was interesting and I was pretty good. But the overall, and I read the comments, and I made some notes, and you already covered the SLO issue, which I think, we could do something to improve that. But there were, I had a few points that I made note of that impacted me. And the one was what Veronica just brought up about the adjunct, the part-time staff, the adjunct. And I thought, we could probably, we can have some discussions on that and see if we can't do a little bit better in relating to that, because we do have a large percentage. And this is not the first time that's come up. It comes up frequently in our discussions. There were a few comments made about remedial instruction and then the goal of the transferring students, and the board has been actively looking at that. We've had meetings with, we've had one meeting and more to come with the school districts, the K-12 districts that feed into us, and what we can do to improve that, and that's at a pretty high level of concern amongst the board. And I bring that up only so that people realize that we're very concerned about that. And then about the facilities, a lot of that, the written comments gave me some insight into what they really think. Like, it may not do any good to have a prettier, nicer classroom, or to have this or have that if my students come in late because they couldn't find a place to park. And the parking is a big part of that, and I think we're all aware of it, but we could maybe work a little harder about what can we actually get in place to deal with it. And it's not just money. So those are my comments, and this survey is very helpful, and thank you for your efforts.
Thank you. Regarding the parking, there is an active transportation alternative work group that is brainstorming alternatives there. If I might make one final comment, I think it's important for us, and you hinted at this, it's important for us to pay attention to this and respond to one or two of the themes that are evident here to increase response rates next year. I think if people realize that, yeah, this isn't just a survey they did for, one-time deal and nothing happened. If people see that there were some response to this, I think we'd get more response to the survey next year, and it'd be more effective. In the same way that more students, I think, would respond in their in-class evaluations if they knew that, yeah, these are really used and make a difference. So I think it's important that we keep this alive.
Marcia, you had a comment?
I was interested, I know we do a student survey as well, and I'm not familiar with what questions we ask there, but I was wondering, is it possible to combine on certain areas? In other words, we've asked questions about the quality of the instructional program, student support services, the library, the learning support, student success in general, and questions about our resources. Are they adequate, and which ones seem to come out ahead, and others that need work, like facilities. I'd be interested to know if our students have the same reaction. And so I'm wondering if there's the possibility of adding in or sharing with us, if you're already doing it, the comparable questions and answers from students.
There is overlap with some of these questions and the survey that we did to all to a sample of students in spring 2013, and we're just about to put a link to those results on our website. So soon you'll be able to just click there and see those results and see the questions that overlap here with their perspectives.
Okay, that would be great.
Yeah.
And one other just kind of very practical thought I had relative to this private email versus public email communication problem we have with, I'm wondering if it's might be routine with our hiring of adjuncts to basically ask, either have an opt-out if you don't want something forwarded, because that tends to keep people in the system, or at least ask when they're hired, could we set up a forwarding? Because it is my experience that people use their own emails much more than they use a college system.
That's a good point.
Any other comments? Thank you, Robert. And yeah, this is a first time, and we'll look forward as a tool next year and see where it goes from there. So we just, next item is appointment of representative to the Santa Barbara City College Foundation Board. We just had the presentation from the executive director of that board. And one of our board goals is financial stability and oversight. And a piece of that is the board's desire to strengthen its ties with the foundation in order to find ways to perhaps grow our resources that come from the community and philanthropic areas. So I guess we can just open this up with nominations. Marcia?
I was going to nominate, or would like to nominate, Marianne Kugler. Marianne has extensive experience in fundraising from her previous life. She worked with the Stuart Mott Foundation and was responsible for organizing private fundraising up to, I think it was a $2 billion in a public-private partnership for after-school programs in education. And so I think that Marianne's experience there would help us in reaching out to the foundation and perhaps assisting them in as they move forward and continue to expand their efforts to help us.
And I can second her nomination if she accepts the nomination. Well, I beat you.
Okay, we've had a second. Any other nominations? Then we'll go to a vote. All in favor of Marianne Kugler as our ex officio member to the foundation board, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Can I just ask, I don't think we were real clear, and maybe we weren't, I missed it, as to the role of this. I mean, it has nothing to do with Marianne or anybody else, but it has to do with the role of the person who is going to be an ex officio, because that term can either be a person that just goes and listens and then reports back, or it could be someone who actually takes direction from this board to the foundation board, that we want something, done or not. And I guess the third choice, there are probably dozens of choices, but the third choice would be that person actually, and I'm very comfortable with Marianne, actually participates and gives direction to the foundation board from us. Mm-hmm. But my only problem with that one is we haven't talked about whatever you're giving direction to them about. Do you know what I'm saying? So it makes for those of us who aren't talking to you, and we can't really talk to you very much about these things, it makes me feel a little bit odd that you or anybody else would be giving direction to that board when we haven't talked about it. So I don't know, this isn't really for Marianne, it's more for us.
I would suggest that we all have a chance to look at those notebooks first. I don't think that relationship has been clear. We're very lucky we had Peter. I think it wouldn't have existed if we didn't have Peter. And that we need to see what the notebooks say and then spend some time, Marty, thinking through that role. I cannot see that it would be appropriate for an ex officio representative to give direction to the foundation. If anyone should be concrete in that way, it would be Lori. My perception of it is more, and I think this is reflected in some of the things that Peter has done in the past, more tying the relationship together between the Board of Trustees and the foundation. In other words, reporting to you what's happening at the foundation and vice versa. And sharing those things the foundation needs to know in order to raise the money responsively. But I need to see the notebook first.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I want to say thanks, Marty, for bringing that up, because my understanding was that what Mary Ann just said would be really the goal, is just so that we have a closer contact and we can develop a better understanding and work together on things so that they know where our priorities are and we know where they want to go, and bring it together. And when you brought up those other points, that's really salient. That really is important, that we all have the same understanding of what's going to happen. So thank you for bringing that up. And I have no reserves about Mary Ann doing this. Better you than me.
Before you jump in, Peter, I just wanted to take a minute and say thank you for all of your years on the board of the foundation. I know it wasn't just since you've been trustee here, you've been on the board, and there'll need to be clarification of that role still.
Does this mean that Peter can't go to those meetings?
No, that's a valid point. First, let me say I agree completely with Mary Ann. I don't think that I ever saw my role as the board representative as one that provides direction to the foundation board. It is a separate board. It is the relationship is one of partnership, and the liaison can assist, can provide information about what the board is thinking, can provide information back to the board, what the foundation board is thinking, and secondly, can interact as a member of any particular committee. I will continue to do that because I was asked to do that, and I think that's appropriate. But I don't think it's appropriate for us to be thinking about providing direction.
Okay.
I had one other comment. The Development Committee, which I did sit on 2 years ago, and in the past year, we really haven't had an active, regular board member. And I think it would be important to have someone on the Development Committee. As Vanessa said, there's 33 members, and it's a very dynamic group with a lot of outside representatives, non-foundation board members. And I'd like to hear from other board members whether they feel we should perhaps appoint a regular person, or ask if anybody would volunteer to serve on that committee on a regular basis. I think it's a committee that would be served better by someone attending over and over for a period of time. Any other comments on that? Marcia?
I would agree with you, except I kind of pause and say what Mary Ann did which is let's look at what we got today in the materials and get a better sense of the overall big picture, and then maybe bring that back for discussion and decision.
Right, I would concur. I agree. It's better to look at the book that we're being given, so we.
All right, so that does it for that item.
Thank you.
Next item is 2.3, appointment of real property negotiator for SBCC facilities lease to Kaplan International. In order to discuss the lease, we have to appropriately appoint a negotiator, and in this case, we would be appointing Dr. Gaskin. And so I guess I would need a motion.
I so move.
I'll second that.
All right.
Assuming that Dr. Gaskin wants to do this or doesn't have another idea. Okay.
Let's see, it's recommended by her. Okay, everyone in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you. Educational Master Plan.
Well, this is an incredible milestone, and I won't repeat myself, but for those of the board who was there this morning, I talked at length about the Educational Master Plan, and it really forms a critical link and nexus to all that we are seeking to do at the college. This is no easy task to create something that speaks to the heart of the institution, and to do so in a way that has meaning and purpose. I did share this morning that one of the things Jack and I were vehement about is that we didn't want the typical educational master plan that was a textbook kind of recipe, chapter 1, 2, 3, and mega 300 pages, and nobody felt it, lived it, breathed it. And in so discussing our interests with those individuals around the state who are very well versed and expert in educational master plans, we were able to, just by serendipity, come together with Dr. Matthew Lee. And he was eager, willing, and had the vision to actualize our dream about what an educational master plan might look like. And I attribute a tremendous amount of this progress to Dr. Lee and what he has done for the institution, so I thank you, Matthew. At the same time, we had a group of probably 15, 20 individuals led by Robert with Kenley and Liz and Jason Walker and a host of other individuals on the team. And it's our integrated planning work group. And they came together under a different purpose, and I asked them to take on the oversight of the Educational Master Plan for College Planning Council. And they did so with fervor and eagerness. And what we have in front of us is something that really speaks to us and speaks to the heart of who we are. So this is your second reading, and we did have one correction, and that has been handed out to you in a single page on the bottom of page 11. The single page, we meant to add, this came out of CPC, I believe? First reading of CPC. This came out of that, and it's just the addition, oh, the first reading here was Veronica, that's right, I'm sorry, to add assessment and analysis of student learning outcomes relevant to course expectations and learning strategies. So with that change, and with heartfelt congratulations, I hope to Robert, Dr. Lee, to our entire IPW, I recommend this highly for board approval and action so that we may implement and move forward.
Mary Ann.
I want to say something about this one because a lot of institutions produce master plans. They're sort of dittoed, rather than actually spending time and energy doing a master plan. And when I first became part of the SBCC community, I was shocked by the lack of anyone, not even a dittoed plan. This one, I am enormously impressed with. It has the feeling of SBCC. And so I congratulate the committee, all of you, and I know that most of you had some voice in it, and want to say thank you.
Any other comments?
Peter.
Peter.
I'd like to move approval.
Second.
Second. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
And I just want to thank Dr. Lee, because I am just truly amazed that somebody could come in, I know he's right up there, as a consultant and figure us out so quickly, or whatever that was.
Well,
I mean, it's truly amazing.
I probably have to admit we tested him, right? Yes, and Robert did a yeoman's job being that liaison. And I have to share before we leave this, that I've never heard such meaningful, robust dialogue as what occurs in IPW. It really speaks to the essence of the institution. It's an amazing group, amazing dialogue. So, thank you.
It's an amazing document. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a
it
document you can sit down and actually read.
It is, yes.
And
Rather than set aside.
And Dr. Lee can go now with his bruises and all of that. But thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Next is Human Resources Consent Items. Pat English.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Happy New Year, happy new semester. We're all happy to be back. I have for you the consent items for Human Resources 4.1 A, B, C, and D, and I have no changes to discuss with you. If you have questions, I shall respond. Otherwise, they're for your approval.
Marcia?
Move approval of A, B, C, and D, item 4.1.
I'll second it.
Marty seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pat. That was easy.
She
Ed-
makes it easy.
Yeah.
Besides, we had to read all those names on all those pages.
Right.
Educational programs, are we?
Dr. Alice Sharper.
Okay,
for
Dr.
Jack.
Alice Sharper is going to.
Jack barely got to Washington DC.
Oh.
Weather?
Then it snows.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. And here we're enjoying our beautiful winter weather.
Don't tell anybody.
Good afternoon, members of the board and President Gaskin and esteemed colleagues. Jack Friedlander is representing us really well at a conference for AACNU, American Association of Universities and Colleges in DC, and he did spend a little bit of lag time in Denver, but he's there. He lost his cell phone on the airport shuttle, but he got it back. And he's large and in charge there, and we're really grateful. We're grateful. He's presenting. His presentation will be tomorrow, and he's participating. And he's presenting on high-impact practices, areas of pedagogy and methodology in the classroom that can really enhance and make more relevant our general education courses. So it's brilliant, it's important work, and we're really grateful he's there. And I'm grateful to be here, and we don't have many items. I'm grateful for that, too. So in educational programs 5.1 through 5.4, what we have are the 1 consent item and 3 action items. And I also do not have any significant changes in speaking with Jack. Everything is very straightforward. So 5.1 are consent items, actions involving stipends for faculty.
I move approval.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Great, thank you. 5.2 is the 2014-15 calendar for the Center for Lifelong Learning. This is an action item, and you'll see the calendar in front of you, and you'll see a brief background that's written as text for here in the narrative. I don't have further comment on it. I could try to answer questions if you have them, but I can't promise anything coherent. Try.
I tried to look through to see if there were any, like, you don't get Christmas Eve off, or whatever all those things have been that we have corrected, but I couldn't see anything. It looks
No,
very
No, I think we're
good.
clean there.
Yeah.
We're clean on all that.
And recall that this is community service, so it doesn't
Right.
have the standards that we need to meet for our academic calendars.
And it's like the weeks, like they start closer.
Exactly.
What I noticed about the calendar was that we used to have significant gaps between
Yeah.
the startup of classes, 3 weeks or more. And now we've compressed that. And so and also we had difficulty with the question of people offering summer classes, and then it overlaps with credit when people are teaching in both areas,
Right.
and they weren't going to get any vacation. And I see that now solved by their ability to offer classes of varying lengths in CLL. So all of that seems to me to have come
Yeah.
together in a great way, and I'm really happy that CLL has compressed the schedule to offer more.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
I'm gratified to see that Veterans Day is actually celebrated on November the 11th.
Coincides. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, oftentimes it's been adjoined with a
Yeah,
weekend
yeah.
for
Sounds
obvious
close.
reasons, but I I personally think that it diminishes the impact of that particular observation.
That's right.
Others agreed with you and made that change. Yeah, okay. All right, so that's an action item.
Would somebody?
I so move.
Mary,
I'll
approval?
second it.
Craig seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, great. So 5.3, new courses and course modifications. So this comes from the Curriculum Advisory Committee, CAC, and they review all course of outline record, course outlines of record, certificate and degree programs, and proposed modification changes, et cetera, to make sure that they comply. And so you have a bevy of courses here from the music department, new course proposals for action.
I'd like to move approval.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Thanks. And our last item is 5.4, again, Center for Lifelong Learning. This is an action item, and these are proposed new courses through the center, and you have them listed here.
Usually we need a moment to laugh at some of the titles.
Well, let's read them. Psychology and Spirituality, under that heading. View Your World Through Darwin's Eyes. 12 Ways Aging is Awesome. Collecting Happiness Dividends. Right?
Right.
That's a fun one, right? Looking for Love in All the Right Places. Healthy and Unhealthy Spirituality. Singing from the Heart. Clasps, toggles, and catches. That's all jewelry, right? Keep your nest egg from turning into a goose egg. Grilling beyond the barbecue. That's a good one.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, we're done. We're done.
Would
somebody like to?
The latter sounds like a course in political science.
Okie dokie. So that's our last action.
Would someone like to move approval?
I'll move
Craig?
approval.
Second from Peter, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
That's great.
you very
Thank you,
much.
Alice. Joe Sullivan, Business Services. We have some hefty items here today, but they've all been run by Facilities Committee, correct? I'm just killing time until you get up to the mic.
You can do my job for me. No. For business service consent items, we do have actually a short consent agenda, but it does include the 2 change orders that were reviewed by facilities. So.
Anybody have questions? Craig?
No, I'd like to move for approval.
Second?
Of the consent items, purchase orders, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, for action items, we have resolution number 15, which is the budget transfers from between major objects, and resolution number 16, the augmentation of revenue, and those two can be taken together.
Have a motion?
I move that we approve those.
A second?
Roll call, right?
Oh.
Aye.
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 He voted.
That's good.
Resolution number 17 is the transfer from ending fund balance to augment the expenditures.
I move approval.
Second?
Roll call?
Aye.
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 And then resolution number 18 is the California Department Education CSPP 3524 Agreement Amendment 1.
Move approval?
Second?
Second by Marty.
Aye.
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 And then final one is resolution number 19, which is to set our non-resident tuition fee, the fee charged to both our international and out-of-state students for the coming year, well, for 2014-15.
Lori, did you want to make a comment about this item?
I did. This is a recurring item, excuse me, that the board acts on every year. And there are parameters by which we must adhere in order to set this non-resident tuition. And we have been very purposeful in recommending to the board that we focus on a fee that is representative of the fees that are charged across the community colleges that have very large international student populations, as we do, and to ensure that there's some congruence with contiguous districts. And that's why you're seeing a substantial increase. We were on the low end, and frankly, our expenses are such that we would like to be able to ensure that our international students are paying what is reasonable in terms of our costs. So that's what you're seeing and it's recommended. It's our intent to take the difference in the revenue that we achieve and to hire faculty in math and English and counseling. Those are the three areas that are not necessarily for international students, but for all students. So that's how it can benefit the institution as a whole.
Lori, our other systems, CSU, UC, do they have 3 tiers for in-state, out-of-state, and international?
I don't know. I know they have non-resident tuition.
Yeah, but across the board, California community colleges have only had 2, which is in-state and out-of-state, which is the same as international.
Mm-hmm.
And that's legislated
Right.
by
These community
state.
colleges. Interesting.
Do you have any forecast about how this might impact the future number of students?
We are in a demand
Mm-hmm.
For international students. We don't believe that this will have a negative impact on the interest that international students have to come and pursue their education at SBCC.
Okay.
With that, can I have a motion to approve?
Also move.
I'll second it.
And this is also roll call.
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much.
No report from information technology, and I guess we'll move into adjourn into closed session. And do we have an idea how long this would be, Lori? Half hour?
Half hour.
For those of you that want to wait around for us to come back, it'll be about a half hour session, and I need to report out that we provided board direction to our real estate negotiator in terms of the real property lease with Kaplan. And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.
And so we have the notebooks for Mary.